Hi everyone, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited about today's interview with Gail Dixon and Diana Aldereguia because we're working on a big project called Champions Mentoring Creates Change, and Gail is going to be sharing about the chapter she wrote about Grandpa's good habits. And before we get into that interview, I want to ask Diana more about her project and her big mission with Memories in a Mansion. So Diana, tell me more about Memories in a Mansion and what it's all about.
We're a global leadership academy transforming the lives of 10 million young women at risk into strong, empowered, and self-sufficient leaders. We're taking them, a lot of people don't know this, but once you age out of the foster care system, you no longer receive support. So we're going to be supporting young women who age out of the foster care system, young women who've gone through domestic violence, and being trafficked and victims of trafficking.
Wow.
And they're going to be in an in-house project, in an in-house program for 4 months, where they're going to receive all the personal attention they need, the love, the care, which they haven't received for a long time. They're also going to receive business skills, public speaking skills. They're going to be given all the personal development on steroids, everything you can imagine.
So is this a national program or a local program? Can you tell me a little?
Starting off here in the U.S. in Florida, but we have already people in the Netherlands. We have people in Asia and throughout the States, and even in Europe who are interested, in England, who are interested in taking the program over there. So this is global.
So what is the project, the Champions Mentoring for a Change? Tell me more about that. And then I'll be talking with Gail about how she got involved.
Okay. Actually, Gail helped me come up with a project. It's a book where we have nine chapters with several authors in them, telling their story about how they overcame difficulties, how they overcame either illnesses or just, we all have trauma. We all have things that we have to overcome in life. So it's basically telling us a little bit about how they overcame their challenges, educating these young women, because that's what the book is going to be used for, explaining how no matter what you go through, you can overcome it and come out okay on the other side. There's always hope, and that you have the power to do whatever you want with your life.
Wow, that's such a positive mission. So let's get into our conversation with Gail Dixon, because I know, Gail, you have quite the background. So I'm going to tell people more about you. And it's interesting that you helped Diana to create this project, because that is who you are. You're a word wizard. And I'll just tell people more about you. So Gail is a word wizard who guides mission-driven entrepreneurs to create powerful messages that generate powerful results. And we just heard a great example of that with the Champions Project. After earning her Master of Arts degree in communication from Purdue University, Gail has spent more than 25 years in the nonprofit sector, bringing in more than $20 million in funding for human services programs. Since creating Masterful Messaging in 2015, Gail has worked with hundreds of thought leaders, business experts, and up-and-coming change agents to name, frame, and claim their personal and brand identities. And I'll just throw in right here that I actually did a really good interview with Gail about naming it and framing it and branding your identity that you can go take a look at another time. But Gail has a gift for listening at the heart level. And this positions her as one of the top experts and trusted authorities for creating messages that command attention, create connection, and of course, ignite impact. This is so important in today's world. She's a best-selling author and speaker, and she shared the stage with Michael Gerber, Nancy Matthews, Burge Smith Lyons. And in 2017, Gail was selected as one of the 100 Awakening Giants, a group of leaders working to inspire conscious leadership and to positively impact 88 million lives worldwide. I think there's a theme here about impacting globally. That's really important. I think that even though we may live in a small town somewhere in the world, we actually can impact the world globally. In addition to coaching her own clients, she's a coach for the Women's Prosperity Network and Wide Awake Business. Gail lives in Tallahassee, and of course, she is extremely grateful to escape the snow and the cold of her native Illinois. So with that, Gail, I wanted you to tell me more about why are you participating in the Champions book project, Mentoring for a Change?
Well, I became intrigued with this project from the minute that Diana started talking about it. I knew that she had really focused on a population, a group of people who get forgotten by the system and whose lives can be so much different if they get the support and the care that they need. And Diana's brilliant idea was to create a residential project, a project in a home, so that the entire environment that these young girls will live in creates and reinforces the mentoring and the care that they need to really fill in the gaps that have been missing in their lives, and the understanding about what it takes to be a person of character and contribution. And so I knew from the minute she started talking about it that I wanted to support her in whatever way I could to bring this to fruition. And I am so thrilled that we are now right at the brink of this project actually taking off and getting legs under it. And I'm delighted to be a part.
That really is fabulous, because so many people, they don't realize that these girls, they need that environment to actually live it each day and to be mentored. So that really is a phenomenal mission, to actually have people living in a situation where they can experience what it's like to be part of that. So you wrote a chapter for the Champions book called Grandpa's Guide
to Good Habits.
Good Habits. So tell me more about what your grandpa had to say about good habits.
Well, you know, when I thought about making my contribution, I thought about one of the things that was so important to me in my life to get to where I am is the support I had of family members. And my grandfather was kind of my person in the family. You know how everybody has someone in the family that particularly takes them into their heart and takes them under their wing. And my grandfather was that for me. And he was a person he was a fresh off the boat immigrant from England when he was about 21 years old. And he worked for a living in a clothing store, but lived to be an actor. He was a Shakespearean actor and did a lot of local community theater. And he really, he read me Shakespeare and Dickens and Chaucer instead of fairy tales, and was constantly pulling out the lessons in that great literature for me. And he taught me to love words, and he taught me about the fact that words can hurt or words can help, and how important it was to create the words that help. So when I wrote this chapter, I thought about if these young girls had had somebody like my grandfather, and if my grandfather had actually put all the life lessons that he gave to me into kind of a guide to living, what would he say? And so then I focused on two things. One is how you think, and the other is how you speak. And I just kind of condensed the things I learned from him into that chapter. And I hope that my grandfather's voice will now echo in the ears of those young women that Diana is working so hard to help.
So can you tell me just one of the good habits that your grandpa gave you that you think would really resonate?
Yeah, listen more than you talk. That sometimes that's not an easy lesson for me to follow. I'm somebody who talks a lot, and I talk for a living. But he really taught me that listening is the heart of learning, and that when you talk, you are sharing what you already know. When you listen, you are learning something else.
That is really good advice. Here's a question that I think that, and I know because you are a heart-centered person, they say that the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you figure out your why. Tell me more about the day that you figured out your why.
I don't know that I can name a day per se. It was probably when I became a counselor and therapist for victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. And I found in the conversations I had with those women that there was something about the way I was able to describe their feelings or experiences that made them go, yes, that's it. That made them have that aha of understanding. And I realized that I had a gift of listening deeply and then reflecting back in a way that people could grasp onto an idea or a feeling or concept and use it powerfully in their own lives. And so it took me a long time. I spent my career doing that word wizardry, if you will, and that listening and talking for other organizations. But when I came into retirement, I knew that it was my purpose in the world really to listen to people who had the potential to make a big impact in the world and make sure that they had the words to help them do it.
You said the word retirement, and I'm kind of chuckling to myself because in the time that I've known you, I don't think that you've ever acted like anyone who was retired.
Well, I have a friend who talks about graduating from her 9-to-5 job into her life's work, and I guess that's probably a better way to put it.
Well, with that said, what is your big mission now? Can you tell me more about that?
I sure can. My mission is to make sure that people who have a big vision and mission to transform and heal the world have the powerful messages that help them do it.
That's really a beautiful mission to have in life. Why do you think that speaking and listening from your heart is so important?
I think that my feeling is that when each of us are created, God whispers a meaning and a message into our hearts. The something that is the reason for our being. And we then do our best to live into that. Sometimes when we listen or speak just from our heads, we get all the noise and all the confusion and all the messages that are coming at us from so many directions. But when we speak and listen from the heart, we are getting the one true voice that gives meaning to our lives and hopefully to the lives of people we touch.
Wow. I think that's a really important thing to think about, is what you said, and your grandpa's words too. You get more from listening. And of course, if you're listening from that place of being open and being in your heart instead of in your head, you seem to get a lot more connected with people.
Absolutely.
So if somebody wants to talk more to you about your messaging or about being a heart-centered person, how can they reach out to you, Gail?
They can find me at masterfulmessaging.com and also at the Masterful Messaging Facebook page. So I am always available to help folks from finding that core mission or just being able to get a sense and learn to listen to themselves so that they can have the powerful words to speak.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Gail. And I'm really happy that you decided to be part of the Champions Mentoring for a Change project, because obviously you add a great deal to it. So I want to go back to Diana and just let's remind people about the mission with the Memories in a Mansion and the book project, and anything coming up related to the Memories in a Mansion. I know there's an event attached to this also.
Yes, we have the launch August 1st at Villa Woodbine with Chef Bill Hansen, who is also in the book, actually. And they can reach us at memoriesinAmansion.org. They can email me at Diana at memoriesinAmansion.org. And we also have a Facebook page, Memories in a Mansion TM, as in trademark. And they can reach out to me, and I'm very accessible. And we're willing to play. We're willing to play with anyone who's interested in helping these young girls find their purpose.
Well, I think it's definitely a huge mission, and one that, I mean, I know it's needed, because I've met many people, young girls, like you said, they're older than, they're in that in-between stage for getting help, and yet they don't know what to do because maybe they don't have a family or any good role models. And I think that's what everybody needs in the world. So the book project, again, is Champions Mentoring Creates Change, and it all benefits memoriesinAmansion.org. And I'll have all of the hot links, and you can go check out everything in our show notes. So before I let you go, Gail, do you have any last words of encouragement for our listeners?
I would just say, listen and speak from the heart, and you will be able to connect with others who do the same.
Thank you. Diana, do you have any last comments?
I can't say it better than Gail. And just do your best to reach out to anyone, not necessarily us, just anyone. And give a hand up.
Great. So everyone, go check out Gail Dixon's website at masterfulmessaging.com. And of course, go look at memoriesinamention.org. And if you can help, please do. This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.